Officer and co-founder of Bauer Automate. Is passionate about as a digital advisor for modern automation and collaboration technologies with a focus on helping organizations maximize the existing IT investments. As a graduate from the U of A School of Business and a certified Microsoft expert, Ryley has spent the last 11 years in the IT industry advising executive leadership across multiple verticals to automate their operational processes. So let's give Ryley a hand and thank him for coming to speak this afternoon. Thank you, Ryley.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. I'm excited to be here today and to talk a little bit about the power of automation and the tools we already have. But with that being said, I actually want to start with my friend David here and a little bit of a discussion about what happens when you start using these tools. So David, pass this off to you.
Okay, so again, we're here with Power Automate. We're going to be talking about the power of the existing IT investments. And again, my name is David. So before we really get started, I just wanted to kind of really apologize to my parents. You know, I grew up, they really wanted me to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer, but somehow I'm here at a manufacturing conference right now talking about technology. So clearly, their retirement plan got flushed out of COVID, maybe not. We'll see. But I'm neither of any of these. And I'm a consultant here at Power Automate. And essentially, I graduated from the University of Alberta with a finance major. And somehow, when I graduated, I didn't even end up working in finance. I ended up working in sales, marketing, or operations. And I worked with a numerous amount of organizations from small to big. And the one thing I love about working with kind of smaller, medium-sized businesses is that when you go in, you're not really just only doing your job description. You're working on so many different things. So at one point, I was doing operations, sales, and marketing all at the same time. You start your day cold calling, and then after that, making marketing material, and then going to the client's house, closing them, and then after that, going to the operation area, and then making sure that we're performing operationally well. So in the end, I started transitioning my career path into hardware support because the one IT lady, the admin staff didn't know how to set up computers, so I just ended up doing that. So I set up computers for a numerous amount of new employees, troubleshooted the CEO's laptop, their desktop, all that stuff, and then slowly they said, hey, you're smart, so why won't you just do software support for us? We have all these programs that we pay for, and we have a lot of programs, so why don't you learn it, go into the IT back end, and then start learning it? And I was like, okay, well, sure. And then slowly I started realizing that most of the organizations I started working with, they started paying so much money for these softwares. It's like, you had a software for this, that, this is insane. And then I started realizing that all these programs or softwares that the companies were paying for, they were only using 10 to 15% of the capability of that software. So I had that crazy light bulb moment where I was like, okay, I got an idea. I'm going to propose to my manager saying, hey, let me not do my actual job description. Let me figure out this program, and I'm going to figure out how to code it, program it in a way where it'll help our company grow, make more money, save time, and all that. So then I slowly progressed my career path to becoming a citizen developer. So what a citizen developer is that any individual in an organization that doesn't have a technology background whatsoever, but then they're able to code certain applications and solutions with easy to understand software. So it gets in the whole thing, is what is the programming language you use? Is it a bunch of zeros and ones? Is it C#, Java? Honestly, I don't even know what half that stuff is. So essentially, I'm a programmer using low-code tools, or low-code, no-code tools. So it's creating computer programs and applications without necessarily needing to know how to understand what recursion is, all the lines and codes, and honestly, I have no idea what that is. But somehow I'm in tech. So pretty much create an analogy of low code, no code is essentially you're given a bin of Lego blocks, and then it's up to you on how you want to shape the blocks to help out whatever solution you're trying to solve. And then it gets into when you're developing with low code, no code solutions, what is that platform as a service? So a platform as a service is essentially, it's a magical playground with all the toys, tools, and equipment that you need to build that game or app without the need of showing it how to work. So we spin this into a manufacturing concept. Say you buy this new machinery, the machinery comes to your factory, it comes with like a software that you download on the computer, and then you pretty much just tell it like what to do, not how to do it. Another analogy that we would put it in is like a 3D printer. So you order your 3D printer in, you kind of screw in some screws, plug it into your computer, download the software, and then all you do is insert the design file and it prints it for you. You're not necessarily telling it the zeros and ones to get it to communicate from the computer to the printer. You're not doing that. And that's essentially what platform as a service is. So now it gets into our kind of presentation today with Bauer Automate. We're going to be talking about the power of existing IT investments that we see most companies use. So Ryley and I are here as Microsoft 365 consultants, and we're so excited to share to you about like how we know that over 71% of middle-sized companies use Microsoft 365. 150,000 organizations across Canada use Microsoft 365, and then realistically what we noticed is that they only use 10 to 15% of Microsoft 365's capabilities. So again, so with Microsoft 365, we're all well-versed, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but realistically, Microsoft 365 has way more applications. So this is a string of all our applications. So way more. Hope you guys all notice some of the apps here. And if you don't, we're going to go through some of them today. So I'd like to pass the floor to my colleague, Ryley.
Thanks, David. I'm really excited to be here to talk about the kind of the potential you already have. I wanted to open up with David here because most organizations have a David or two. There's a few people in your organization who are really excited about the current tech that you have, and they know your business better than the IT department will. So we're just starting to see a trend where a lot more of these business users are being empowered to develop these IT solutions for themselves. And then we're seeing just a big rise in the citizen developer model where the business users who are closest to the work are able to build these kind of solutions. So a little bit about myself here. I've got more of a reputation as a cat dad. I think that's my biggest defining trait lately, but I also want to be a guide for technology. We go through talk about automation and this digital transformation buzzwords and just the excitement around what we can do with some of these new tools. So through the last 10 years, I've watched hundreds of organizations struggle in multiple industries with using their tools. So I just want to take a step back here and tell us a little bit of a story. We're going to go with an analogy here for the dragon and the city. We're a city, we want to defend ourselves against the dragon, and we need to equip ourselves with the tools to survive so that we can be more effective with everything we have. So we want to leverage the power of the IT that we already have and that we already use to defend our city. So again, the city is us. We are a unified front, and we want to defend against some of the new items that are the dragon. Bottlenecks in the industry. There are people, sometimes there's people and processes which are unnecessarily complicated or unnecessarily choked by different points in the process that you can really make better by doing some simple automation. Our competitors are learning lots more about this tech as well, and if we don't take a step ahead of it, they'll beat us to the punch. So we want to make sure that we're defending against and taking a forward stance against our competitors and inefficiencies too. There are plenty of opportunities where things are slow with paper processes and hung up by different people or other little spreadsheets and simple things that could really be automated better with the use of some of the latest technology. So if you don't take that lead on the technology first, your competitors will, and we want to make sure that we can defend against this dragon here. So us in our city, we're 3D Widgets Incorporated. We're a mid-sized business with 250 employees and about 30 million in annual revenue. And we're already using Microsoft 365. We've got a little mix of the basic and the premium licensing, like most organizations do. But we're just getting started here. We haven't really taken advantage of using it. We're starting to use the cloud, but there's no real clear guidelines. Nobody's working effectively with these tools because they haven't been properly trained, and it's just kind of a gong show that's causing some problems with our inefficient collaboration. We're just unable to find the latest documentation. Everybody's working on a different copy of the file, and there seems to be an issue with just everybody having access to the right information at the right time. Our business, we're heavy in automation. We like the idea of automation, so we invested heavily in our line. We've done a lot of cool things to make our assembly line more effective and to make our processes more efficient on our production front. But we struggled to actually do in our processes as well. So we have a lot of paper and manual processes on the business side because we just focused on automating half of our business, which gives us some product issues. There's inventory problems, missing inventory. We have breakdowns with our equipment, plenty of problems with our orders, and even quality issues because we just don't have a full story about our product life cycle. Which leads us into people issue 2. People are frustrated, they have problems with getting their information approved, getting their expenses set up, onboarding new employees, getting them up to speed, and just managing your product in general. All of this turns into a lack of real-time data where we have trouble getting any insight into our business. Or if you do have some access to your data, it's in disparate spots, you don't really have the ability to make data-driven decisions because there's no clear way to analyze it. The dragon in the midst, one of our clear competitors here, is starting up 40 gizmos. They're doing similar revenue for 30 million, but they only have 200 employees instead of 250 because they've been working hard on using Microsoft 365 to automate their business. So with their cloud usage, they hit the ground running with training strategies so that everybody got some clear guidelines and knows how to use these tools so they can collaborate effectively. Everybody has the latest copy of the documents. Everybody is always working on these documents together. They, in parallel with their line automation, focused on their digital transformation to empower everybody to work on mobile devices like the tablets and phones and bring those around the assembly lines so that they have automation on both fronts. They've automated their products, their ordering is set up, they have inventory done already, and even things like regular inspections are being done on those iPads. So they've automated their onboarding process so everybody is more comfortable using these new tools. They've automated their onboarding and expenses, they've automated their approvals, and really every facet of their business that they can where there's collecting data and sending it somewhere else. Because of that, they can make data-driven decisions. They have real-time insights into every part of their business, and because of that, they can leverage all of their data to really just run their business more effectively. So just as a little recap here, we're trying to defend against the city, or defend against the dragon of 40 gizmos. So we have 3 strategies we can do. We can escape. I didn't put it on there because we're going to stand on our ground. We like our business and we want to build it more powerful. So we have the options to attack and defend with our strategy. So some of the power-ups we can do, we can get some gemstones, we can have our army, we can also defend through our shields and fortifying our walls, and we can get some insight and power from the wizards as well. So some of the tools that we're going to use in our upgrade suite here with the Microsoft 365, we have the AI builder. AI is a hot topic right now, and we're starting to see more and more usage with AI. The Microsoft AI builder lets you use low code and some very basic tools to train your own AI model and set yourself up with your own custom AI. Power Apps and Forms is the tools we use to gather information. So we have our field inspection out in the field with the Power App, or we'll have a Microsoft Forms to gather registration information for an event like this. Power Automate is our data transformation tool. So we take data and we move it somewhere else. We'll notify you about the data, or we'll talk about the different ways that you can send approvals and notifications with changes to the data. Some of the data we're going to store in SharePoint Online, and we'll analyze it with Power BI. So just to get started here, the AI builders, like our little gemstones, is really our one-size tool that we can use to perform some pretty cool magic. So some of the problems we have are frustrating and costly. We don't have reliable methods of ensuring quality control, finding our misidentified parts, missing manuals, decreased productivity, compromising the safety and reliability of our products. So with the AI builder, you can do things like detect anomalies and defects through the production lines so that you can be alerted of those things in advance. We can automate inventory and look up kind of what's available on the fleet. There's the ability to identify defects and missing components when you're out in the field. And even if you have similar looking parts out in the field, you're able to point your camera at it and identify which part it is, and then look up the manual for it so that your service technicians aren't busy looking at different products. And we can even, like I said with the cameras, we can point a camera at a piece of equipment and it will notice when there's a defect or something that can trigger an alert for an inspection being needed. So just as a quick example here, I've got a video talking about the AI builder and how to set it up. So in this example, where you just have 3 Coke cans pop cans on our counter here, we point the camera at it, and right away we're able to inventory. We have 1 Sprite, 1 Coke, and 1 Dr. Pepper, and we're able to kind of look at different items that we have in our own training set. So with the AI builder, we take a set of pictures, we upload our own images to the data sets and train it on the items. So we're just setting up here, we've got our Coke can, Sprite, and Dr. Pepper, and we're going to train this data model. This is part of the low-code experience. So we just look at our categories, and we're going to upload a couple pictures. Each of these pictures we go through, and we just tag them ourselves. So we're going to open up each picture and indicate whether this is Sprite, Dr. Pepper, or Coke, and we can collect data and import it into our inventory from there. So we can do this for identifying different parts out of the field. We can use this for identifying counting objects, and there's a couple different ways in the assembly line where some of these AI builders can be really powerful. It takes a few minutes, you set that up, and with tools you already have, you're able to leverage the power of AI. One of the other facets of this is your sales team, and empowering your sales team and your warriors to defend and attack the dragon as well. So some of the problems that we have with 3D prints and some of the design work we do specifically is there's the unnecessary printing of documents, but there's also the challenge of how do you mix 2D and 3D content together so that you can share your documentation and your prototypes in a very simple way, but not preventing anything that's going to decrease productivity or customer engagement. So most organizations are already using SharePoint, and SharePoint has a new type of page. SharePoint is a web builder for those who haven't used it. There's a new type of page template called a space, and the spaces can help create an immersive showroom where you can do a demo with your 3D objects, your 3D models, and your documentation all in one spot. When you're happy with it too, you can even take people through the specific documents that you're referencing. So as a quick example for the SharePoint space here, I just made a web page where I've got a couple 3D objects that are static, and we're able to show these off beside some animated 3D objects, so we can kind of compare a few of our assets together during our demos with our customers. We can mix regular content, so we have some animated objects with fixed text and our diagrams. We can include some imagery in our flowcharts, and we can even do things like offer a launch direct to the document, so we can support the documentation with our project, and an automated organization chart, so we can go through and talk about who's on the project team. So with SharePoint Spaces, it just gives you kind of a way to take all of the pieces of your design process, from the 3D models to your initial blueprints and any sort of supporting material, and brings them all into one space. You can put on a pair of VR goggles and tour this as a showroom as well, but I like even just this because it gives you the ability to bring all those different pieces of your product lifecycle into a demo for your customers. So once we've gone and set up the attack, we also want to do a little bit of a defense. So some of the simple things that organizations don't do is proactive maintenance. Inefficient and inaccurate manual inspections, problems with your reporting processes, it leads to errors, delays, and there's no real-time visibility on this critical data, so it's stressed and hinders your productivity. But something simple like a site inspection app can let the field technicians collect data in real time, and they can work on reducing their manual entry. Inspection reports will happen as they go, and instead of waiting a couple days for a paper form, you have the data as it's collected. And so we can use that to identify defects, check out machine performance, count inventory, and then going back to using the AI builder, you can identify and look up physical objects and compare them against your trained data. With the app, you can also trigger notifications, so as soon as you've finished your inspection, you can notify your supervisor. You can also trigger an escalation. You know, a piece of equipment is defective and needs to be repaired immediately, so you can send that out, or even an approval to order something new and or schedule the next appointment. So as a quick little example here for our defense, these are all templates from Microsoft, by the way, so I'm not doing anything extra outside of turning on the templates, but they have a little site inspection here where we can go through and put some notes about it, mark our location where we are, take some pictures, and just document our time on the site. So we don't have to fill this out on paper and upload our pictures back at our computer later and work through manual document processes, we're able to take a defensive stance by building some of these apps now to perform proactive maintenance or really just gather any information from out in the field or out with your customers. You want to fortify your walls too when you're defending against the dragon. So one of the simple processes I always talk about is a time off request or expense reporting. So many organizations have these in a spreadsheet and they just have a manual process. It causes errors, confusion, no visibility into the employees when they're available or how much vacation balance that they have. It's just decreased productivity, employees are frustrated, stress for managers because nobody can make schedules and efficient time off. So something simple like a time off request can just help simplify the process, reduce your errors, and just gives everybody a better experience with their calendaring and for the managers to plan efficiently. So something simple here like a time off request app, we can have it so we look at our different types. We can see our available balance right away so the employee knows how much time they have left for the year. We have a calendar for the company holidays, and then you can actually go and just submit yourself a new time off request. You can pick your type, and then as soon as you pick your type, the app will tell you how much you have left so you know what's available, and you can submit your vacation request here because I'm going to be at the MTX conference today. When I'm going to submit it, now the managers can come back into the system from the manager's side and they can go and approve my time off request and look at what's available. So I can just take a look at this quick time off request, I can approve or decline, and I can put some notes on it. And so then I can specify the time off request approval accordingly. Payroll can come in afterwards and get a report from the system, and this is something that can just be auto-maintained every year, resetting the balances. But I like this as one of my favorite examples because so many companies do this as a manual process now, and this is a template for Microsoft. The last little piece here is our wizard. So now that we've defended the castle, we've taken a defensive front, we also want to make smart decisions to prevent the dragon from coming back. So with our organization, we have difficulty making data-driven decisions because of our data is unorganized and all over the place. We don't have any trends, we don't have any visibility into our patterns or outliers, and this really doesn't give us any opportunities to grow. So with Power BI, we can combine and analyze data from multiple different data sources. You can look at trends, patterns, and anomalies, and make data-driven decisions. That's really important, and I kind of keep throwing that down there, that when you've got a way to collect your data, and a way to transport it, and a way to analyze it, you're really powerful at making these data-driven decisions. We have the ability to make interactive dashboards in Power BI, track performance, production yields, defects, QA, QC, sales inventory, and integrate with larger systems like your CRM or ERP. So just as a quick little example here, we've got a Power BI dashboard for a production report. So for the supply chain here, we can see all of our different months and our different channels. So we have a forecast, demand, product, and which plant it's coming from, or our distribution center. And so we can kind of look at the relationships here as we go through and see what we have on a breakdown. Clicking through Power BI is really nice because as soon as you select anything on your data, the other visuals will change as well. I can ask questions, top plants by that % on back order, and then I can see where that all lies and which products are back ordered specifically. And so there's this Q&A maker in Power BI which lets you ask natural language questions, top plants 5% on time, and you can get that data out of it just with your words. We have other things, like we can track the, this is an example here for our back orders too, but we have a couple different visuals where we can just see how that interacts. So we can look at different forecasting models and understand where our data's at. And we can even segment it out so we can get a better breakdown of each of our detailed reports. So we can look here and see where the product balance is and how dominating it is in our market segment. And then we can look at some simple things more like a sales perspective too. So here we've got our products, our stores, and a natural text breakdown. So I can look at a specific products breakdown, a specific store's performance, which outlines it on the chart here. Or we can also ask plain language, like net sales versus our net sales by location as a stack chart. Show some data as numbers instead, if someone likes tabular data. And look at something like returns. So we can again just kind of click through our report, and every time that we interact with one of these columns, it changes all the visuals on screen to show us just the related data. So it's really powerful as we go through and write some of these plain language expressions, or we kind of just look at what we can do for comparing our data from multiple data sources. And that gives Power BI a lot of potential to just help you make better data-driven decisions, because you can get your information from all the different systems you have. One of my favorite examples is I had a customer who set up a fleet management system, and they have the data from their trucking system, their expense reports, and their fleet all in one database now, and they can get our true cost per mile. So going through here, we just want to build up our foundation for our team to prevent the attack from the dragon and to protect and go in the future. So we want to get all the pieces together and just make ourselves strong.